In this episode, I want to answer the question of what is self-development versus what is personal development, and we're starting right now. Hello and welcome to this episode of Audacity to Lead. I am Dayo Samuel, and this is the show where I give you the courage and the necessary insights you need to lead your life and business in the direction that matters to you. Today, I'm going to be explaining to you what self-development is as against what personal development is. A few days ago, I was actually reading a couple of documents, a couple of materials, and then suddenly it came to my awareness that, wait, what really is self-development? What really is personal development? And so the first place I decided to check was Google. So I typed on Google self-development, and guess the answer Google gave me? Google said that self-development is the process by which a person's character or abilities are gradually developed. I was like, are you kidding me? So what is personal development? I decided to find out from several sources that, okay, what truly is self-development and what is personal development? And here are a couple of things I found out. So first, personal development, I discovered on Quora that personal development is basically creating or upgrading per existing personality traits associated with progressing expertly and socially. Note those two words, expertly in the area of skills, socially in the area of relationships. Those two of them are what? External. Personal development requires the eagerness, the desire to learn, to change. For instance, if you have difficulty getting along with associates at your office and realize the need to improve or see your profession area or best stunted in growth, you realize that you completely should change, your very survival probably depends on it. Okay, so that is what I found as the definition for personal development. When you compare personal development with self-development, you will observe a couple of things. Self-development is defined as a process whereby individuals evaluate their own lives, observe the personal growth they have experienced, and decide whether they are satisfied or not. That is the real definition of self-development. Self-development is most importantly focused on you, while personal development is focused on external qualities such as your skills, your relationships, your ability to do certain things well. But self-development focuses on your most important element, which is you. There's a statement I always like to make which goes like this: you are the architect and the engineer of your life, and the most important project you can work on is yourself. That is your most important project in your entire life. It's not your job, it's not your skills, it's not even the things you can do or the things you can't do. It is most importantly you as a person. Now here's where it gets interesting. When we look at people, we realize that we can say that they are human beings and they are human doings. But before you go bonkers on me, let me explain that. Human beings have to do with coming alive, becoming more aware of the things that are going on in your life and the things that are going on around the world. It is more focused on your personal evolution. That is what it means to become a human being. But on the flip side is what I call human doing. And human doing is basically saddled with improving what you are, whether you know yourself or you don't know yourself. That includes getting better at doing things, getting better at your ability, your skills, and all that. So self-development then becomes the undoing of everything that has been done to you so that you can become more of who you truly are at the core of your being. That is what self-development is. Personal development doesn't have to do with you evolving. It doesn't have to do with you becoming a better person. It basically just focuses on you being able to do the things you do well, you being able to relate with people well, you being able to execute on the things you needed to do very well. But self-development comes back to you as a being, you becoming alive, becoming more aware, becoming more in tune with who you are. Like the illustration I always like to make, you letting your external self and your internal self come into an alignment where you become a more powerful being. Now, here's the interesting thing. You may know my story, and in case you don't know my story, in 2014, I started out as a podcast coach and consultant, and I started working with people to help them start podcasts, profitable podcasts. I still do that till now. And one of the things I began to notice as I started doing that is that when people come to me and they say, I want to start a podcast, and then we start working together, I began to notice a couple of things that were out of place in their lives. So they have fears, anxieties, insecurities, they have self-esteem issues, and they want to start a podcast. And so what I typically do then is I tell them, okay, let's pause this podcast for now. We have come this far. Let's work on you as a person, and then we'll resume the podcast later on. You know what used to happen? Few of them continue from there on their podcast. Majority of them actually realized that the podcast was supposed to be a mask for something they're actually looking for. So by the time we now begin to create, of course, a lot of times I create breakthroughs and transformations in their lives, and they go away from our interactions together, from the time that we spend together. They go away becoming better persons, becoming better beings than whatever podcast they want to actually do. So you see how the interplay I used there. They become a better being than what they want to do as regards the podcast. So here's what I began to observe. It was actually that time that I began to notice that, okay, so people can actually do things without actually being who they really need to be. And that was when I began to observe this pattern. In my classes and in my programs, one of the statements I always make is that I tell people, be in this class for yourself. Watch this video for yourself. Be in this session for yourself. Because of course, you could have an idea sometimes, or something can spark in your head, and you're like, or let's say in a session, maybe I'm talking to you like this and something sparks in your head, and the first thing you do is that, oh, so that's the reason why so and so person does that. What you are doing is to deflect the transformation that can actually happen. So what you are doing there is, rather than being what you discover, being the awareness, what you are doing is to actually turn it into a task, to something outside of yourself. So rather than taking it in, you're actually deflecting it outside of yourself. This is why a lot of people know so much, but they are not able to create the results they're looking for in their lives. Personal development is very good, but self-development is a higher level. When you decide to focus on self-development, you kind of have these four major results. Number one, you're able to resolve internal conflicts. Internal conflicts such as anxiety, insecurity, fear, the motivations you have, the things that create insecurities for you that don't allow you to sleep in the night, you can resolve that. And sometimes the internal conflict could be in your emotions, it could be in your relationship with other people, but first of all, you're able to resolve it from inside. Number two, you're able to create meanings, or let me say, new meanings. Situations that may be mundane, and just like that, with self-development, you are able to turn the mundane into meaningful. You are able to turn what is useless into something purposeful. And number three, you are then able to develop compassion. Now, when I say develop compassion, the first compassion you can actually develop is towards yourself before it becomes towards others. Now, when you develop compassion for yourself, you are able to love and appreciate yourself. You are able to be in a relationship with yourself where you are comfortable being who you truly are, regardless of what others are trying to do to you. And as I said earlier on, self-development is the undoing of what others have done to you so that you can become more of who you truly are at the core of your being. Number four is that you are able to improve your confidence. By reason of self-development, you are able to improve your confidence. In a previous episode that you can find up here, I actually talked about the three facets of confidence. And I specifically explained that there's self-confidence, there's skills confidence, and there's social confidence. Now, self-confidence is that point where your internal self and your external self can come into a point of alignment, can come to a point where they agree together to improve your own life. Now, when you improve yourself, and of course you remember that external self is what personal development is focused on, right? And internal self is what self-development is focused on. So it means that when you develop yourself as a being, you're able to come into alignment with the external self. And of course, that improves your confidence. That helps you become more confident as a person. You're able to be more confident in your own skin. You're able to become more confident in being who you truly are at the core of your being, regardless of what anybody says or what anybody does. Of course, with that, you're able to overcome the fear of rejection. You're able to overcome the fear of what will people say that most people actually battle with. Of course, if you understand what I've said so far, when you're able to resolve internal conflict, you're able to come to a point where there's increased perception of reality. And number two, when you develop compassion towards yourself and towards others, of course, you're able to accept yourself and accept other people. Of course, when you improve your confidence and learn to create new or newer meanings in your own life, you are then able to come to a place of personal autonomy, independence, and freedom. And of course, that's what a lot of us are actually looking for. Now, here's the interesting thing. Personal development cannot, as with my own experience and with the experience of people around me, personal development cannot bring you to that place of personal autonomy, to that place of personal independence, to the place of personal freedom. You can only find that with self-development, developing the internal self. That's when you can come to that point of personal autonomy, personal independence, and personal freedom. And then, of course, as I mentioned earlier, the last thing that can happen to you is you enjoy this richness of life. You enjoy this richness of life because you can intimately access your emotions. You can become more appreciative of yourself, more appreciative of others. And of course, that literally spirals your creativity. You're able to think wide, think deep, and think broadly. These are the reasons why you should consider focusing on self-development rather than on personal development. I hope that with what I've shared here with you, it is able to actually help you begin from today, focus on self-development. Now, if you have questions that you would like me to clarify, please type them in the comments below and I'll be glad to answer and bring some clarity for you as well. But then, if you are the type of person who wants to improve your confidence, of course, I talked about confidence earlier on, isn't it? So if you want to improve your confidence by engaging in a tiny 5-minute exercise, by research and by the reports we have, this tiny 5-minute exercise can actually boost your confidence level by up to 17%. And all it takes is just 5 minutes for you to do that. You can find the link to that right under this video. Is a little PDF that you will download and you will see the instructions of how you can actually do the exercise yourself. I explain the scientific backing and I also explain the practical side so that you can actually do that. It takes just 5 minutes for you to do the exercise, but the result of that 5-minute exercise can last as long as 30 days. So I want to invite you to download that reports with the link that you can find down below this video right now. I am Dayo Samuel once again, and this is the place where I give you the courage and the necessary insights you need to step out and lead your life and business in the direction that matters to you. If I have done that with this video, I want you to go ahead and subscribe to this channel right now. And even if I haven't done that yet, tell me in the comments below so that I can know what to improve and what else you would love for me to talk about. Till I come your way again next week, Thursday, remember to live without limits. I'll see you some other time.